wanted to show everybody my coffee roasting machine here. It's just based on the popcorn popper, which is what most of them are based on. This one's a Sunbeam popcorn popper, and it's pretty cheap, and you can find it in a lot of different places. So what to look for with the popcorn popper if you're just looking for one at the thrift store is the inside of it. So there should be no mesh on the bottom, so it should only be side vented with a solid bottom, so we don't want any of the chaff falling into the machine, and we want the side vents to keep it swirling around and spinning. The popcorn popper, it does not get hot enough as it comes from the store. It has a safety switch in it so that as it gets really hot, then it shuts down and doesn't let it get any hotter. We'd like it to get really hot and stay hot during the whole time. So you have to kind of hack it. So for the Sunbeam, there are 3 screws in the front and back. Once you unscrew those, then the top comes off of it. And then if you look, there is the safety cutoff switch here. That's just the thermostat hooked to the collar, and it basically senses the temperature inside the barrel here, and then if it gets too hot, it shuts down the heat for it. You just need to short this out. I think the easiest way to do that is just to take a paper clip and wrap a paper clip around the 2 contacts. So if you short out those 2 contacts, it'll stay hot the whole time. Okay, that's the only modification you need, and then you can put it back together. So coffee beans will go in here, and then just start heating up. They'll expand as they heat, and they'll get lighter, so they'll start to bounce around, kind of like what popcorn does. You can try and use the top piece that comes with it. That's plastic. It will get so hot though that it'll melt the plastic and start to cave in. So the top plastic piece just isn't going to work very well. So what I use is one of these chimneys. It's a glass chimney that comes off a lantern or a oil lamp sort of thing. So you can usually get these at the hardware store for $4 or $5. And then try and get one that has the diameter that matches the diameter of your popcorn popper. Then to keep it on, you have to kind of put these silicone pieces on there. I use Sugru because it's a silicone putty and it's really high temperature and it doesn't melt as it gets hot. So you just knead it and it's soft, and then I just put this on and then just push those pieces of Sugru on there until it makes a pretty good seal, so that its tension sits in there. And then lastly, to try and give you a little bit more back pressure and a little bit more temperature control, I just put a piece of tinfoil over the top of it, and then just kind of neck it down so that it has a little bit of an exhaust there, so it just keeps the heat in a little bit better. And otherwise, that's about all you need. You do need some green beans, so I get these beans from Sweet Maria's, and they're really good beans. And then just pour them in, and I start with some in there to start with, then I turn it on, and then I just keep adding them until it basically is about stops moving the beans. If you put too few beans in there, it doesn't build up heat because their heat is escaping so fast. If you put too many beans in there, they don't move, and then it heats up too hot and it starts to burn out. These popcorn poppers will last for a while, a year or so, if you take good care of them, but they won't last forever. They're just not designed to run at this type of heat, so at some point you kind of kill it. And so if you're gentle with letting it, keep the heat hot but not let it get so hot that it starts to break it, that'll make it last longer. So once you turn it on, they'll start spinning around. So I go to about there. That's about how high I go with them. Put the chimney on once you got them where you want them, and then put the tinfoil on. And then, depending on the day, the temperature outside, I recommend doing it outside. It's going to make a lot of smoke. Not going to work well inside. If it's really cold out, it sometimes doesn't heat up hot enough that it's just going to take a long time. But if it's a reasonably warm day, you can get it to roast in 5 to 7 minutes usually. Okay, so that is about where I want them roast-wise. I like to stop it right at second crack. Then I pour them onto a cookie sheet. to help them cool down a little bit faster. That just levels them out. The metal then starts to pull heat from them and cools them off quickly. How dark you roast them, that's just going to be up to what roast level you like and the beans that you like. Sweet Maria beans oftentimes put the roast level that works best for those, so you just kind of have to experiment and play it by eye as to what color and about what sound you're looking for to get that to work. But otherwise, yeah, it takes maybe about 7 minutes, 5 minutes, depending on the temperature, and then you can just pour some more in, do another one, do another one. When you're first starting, I would definitely stay here and watch it, and then as you kind of get used to it and have some faith in your machine and what it can do, and otherwise sometimes the fan just stops working and then it starts heating, and then you can have them just burn if you walk away. So if you hear the sound on the fan start to make some weird sounds or something like that, probably stop it, just so that you save it, hopefully, and let it cool down, because if it starts making sounds like something got stuck in the fan, sometimes it just dies and you're done and you'll have to get yourself a new one. So doesn't last forever, but hopefully that gave you kind of an idea of you can roast coffee beans at home with a pretty cheap popcorn popper and a little bit of work hacking it into a coffee roaster.